Hello, this is the Kenyan Siasa, and I'm your host Jabali Udawa Nadawa. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, on Friday, the High Court made a ruling stating that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula, can't serve as the Speaker of the National Assembly while at the same time serving as the leader of his party, the Party of Ford Kenya. In this episode, we are raising a question. Is there a possibility that the executive arm of the government, the presidency, President William Ruto, was involved in this ruling? Moses Masika Wetangula has been the Speaker of the National Assembly and at the same time the party leader of Ford Kenya for the past 2 years without any issue. Yes, at some time, Raila Amolo Odinga tried to challenge this arrangement of Moses Masika Wetangula being the Speaker of the National Assembly while at the same time still holding his position as the party leader for Kenya, citing lack of impartiality in the office of the Speaker. However, things moved on seamlessly. So, why are we saying that maybe the executive arm of the government, President William Ruto's hand, might be involved in this ruling? Number one, it is evident that the Mount Kenya voting bloc is no longer with President William Ruto. Since the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua last year, Rigathi Gachagua mounted a rebellion against President William Ruto. And right now, the Mount Kenya and President William Ruto are not reading from the same page of the book. And it will be remembered that in the year 2022 general elections, the Mount Kenya voting bloc gave President William Ruto, through the UDA party, a majority of members of parliament. And right now, with their exit, the king is the naked man. And President William Ruto need to compensate the void, need to fill the void that has been left with the exit of the Mount Kenya region. So, there is a possibility that President William Ruto's hand is involved in this ruling. One source to make sure that Moses Masika Wetangula relinquish his position as the chair, as the party leader of Ford Kenya, and ultimately do a merger with the UDA. It will be remembered that approximately 3 weeks ago, the ANC party of Musalia Mudavadi did a merger with the UDA. Now, with Ford Kenya merging with UDA of President William Ruto, this will strengthen the UDA party, considering the fact that a huge faction of UDA, the Mount Kenya wing, has already exited the party. Now, this will be part of the journey of filling the void that has been left by the Mount Kenya region. It means that in the 2027 general elections, the members of parliament who would have been voted through the ticket of Ford Kenya will be in UDA, technically. Therefore, with this, President William Ruto will have a considerable number of MPs in the parliament, and this will be fundamental, will be crucial in helping him to maneuver in the parliament, to maneuver in passing several bills that have been sponsored by his government. Another reason as to why we can say that President William Ruto's hand was involved in this ruling is just as a precaution measure. it is evident that right now, Rigathi Gachagua is on a hunting mission. Now, Rigathi Gachagua is moving away from Mount Kenya region and is trying to forge a political vehicle that can mount formidable opposition against President William Ruto, and even, through his words, make President William Ruto a one-term president. And with this, President William Ruto is a worried man that maybe even Moses Masika Wetangula might join the other camp of Rigathi Gachagua and make it a Herculean task for him to recapture the seat of the presidency in the 2027 general elections. Now, by this ruling forcing Moses Masika Wetangula to relinquish his position as the party leader of Ford Kenya, and later President William Ruto forcing a merger of Ford Kenya with UDA, it technically locks him out, or it technically prevents him from doing any move that might lead to his exit from the UDA Kenya Kwanza wing to Rigathi Gachagua's wing that will be opposing President William Ruto in the 2027 general elections. And lastly, we can just say that maybe President William Ruto is yielding to Raila Amolo Odinga's demands. It will be remembered that again on Friday, the same High Court made a ruling that the Kenya Kwanza coalition doesn't form the majority in the parliament. And it was ruled that Azimio is the majority coalition in the parliament. Therefore, Azimio is the coalition that should provide the leader of majority, and Kenya Kwanza be left with the leader of minority. It will be remembered that indeed Azimio won majority seats of members of parliament in the 2022 general elections. However, just after the elections, President William Ruto poached some of the Azimio MPs to make it appear superficially that Kenya Kwanza is the majority coalition. But technically, through the parties, Azimio is the majority coalition in the parliament. And Raila Odinga was a bitter man with the ruling that was made by Masika Moses Wetangula when this 13th parliament commenced its business after the 2022 general elections. Therefore, we can just say that right now, President William Ruto, being a naked man, is worried. And his hand was involved in this ruling just to yield to Raila Amolo Odinga's demands of being recognized through his coalition of Azimio as the majority and be given the seat of majority leader in the parliament. And even there's some rumors that Raila Amolo Odinga is demanding for the position of speaker to be given to one of his lieutenants. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, we reached the halt of this episode. For those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we're humbled, we're glad,